Hello, all. Welcome to Anatomy and Physiology 2. The course code for this is Bio 102, and the section number is 26663. This is a hybrid course that's taking place for 7 weeks. We refer to this as the late start semester. It's a hybrid course, meaning that the lecture portion, which I will be teaching, is going to take place in as a remote format, whereas the lab portion is actually going to be taught on on campus, face to face in one of the lab rooms, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. My name's Dr. Gamaro, and the this is me, so just welcome you here. But I'm going to switch over from our PowerPoint presentation, and I want to just be able to talk to you a little bit more in person, like that. Okay, so welcome everyone to Anatomy and Physiology 2. I'm here in my home right now, and I just want to be able to talk with you about the syllabus itself. The syllabus is actually 29 pages. So make sure that you print this out. It's 29 pages. The first 8 pages will be the departmental. The chemistry and biology department puts together the first 8 pages, which is going to be an umbrella for everybody taking any kind of course in anatomy and physiology, or whichever format, which is pretty general stuff. What I'm going to do, though, is really start on page 9. That is the page that actually has this yellow box on it, and you'll see that. That's more of the addendum of the instructor, which I'm going to be talking about. The addendum, it's more about more specific things, when the exams are, what the exams are about, what the all the policies are and whatnot. So and how to handle the Blackboard course, which we'll talk about. So I just wanted to welcome everybody here. Before we go into the actual syllabus itself, which is, I just want to introduce myself a little bit and what to expect. That's all on page 9. But my name is Dr. Gamaro. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I'm a Newark boy, and moved up to Sussex County probably, I guess, around 1978 or so. I was like 8 years old at the time. So I graduated in Sussex County, actually Walk Hill Valley Regional High School. And then I went to Ohio University, did my undergrad over there as pre-med zoology. Then I ventured off into medical school in the Caribbean island of Grenada. And when we do that, we do the first 2 years, which is book work, stuff that you're kind of doing right now, where you're just sitting down at a desk, listening to the teacher, things like anatomy and physiology. But when we did, obviously, things like pathophysiology, diseases, microbiology, pathology, statistics, all that kind of stuff that we did. So we do that for the first 2 years. And the last 2 years would be what we call the clinical years. The clinical years are actually working in the hospital and using everything that we learned for the first 2 years and actually applying that to patients in a hospital setting. What I did, though, I had the opportunity where I started in Grenada, stayed with the same school, but the last 2 years, you can either do the 2 years in the United States, or you can do the last 2 years, these clinical years, in England. So I kind of used it as a bridge between my two loves of medicine and traveling. And so I was 2 years in the Caribbean, and the last 2 years I decided to do my clinical years in England. So I saw how England was doing things, a very different way of doing things, kind of using a lot more hands-on as opposed to the laboratory stuff. Saw what socialized medicine was all about on both sides, because, you know, occasionally I got sick or whatever, and I had to be a patient at that time. But yeah, socialized medicine won't work in America, but that's another talk for another time. I saw it, and things were just changing over here too. So anyway, I then entered, and then I came back to the States. I entered the field of obstetrics and gynecology. Delivered 3,000 babies. I lost track after that, and that's where I did it in New Jersey. I was at I was in St. Michael's Medical Center for a few years, and then their obstetrics and gynecology department closed down, so I needed to transfer to someplace else, and then I became the chief resident over in Jersey Shore University Medical Center. So anyway, I did all that, and then things started changing with myself, where I had to get knee surgery. My mother had a stroke, but she's doing wonderful now as we speak. She's driving and still a nut as usual. But so this was a good time where I needed to step back, take care of these personal things, and then I'll go right back in there. However, things were changing in the medical realm at that time, and when I mean changing, it's things that were like I wasn't. I started doing things that I didn't really sign up for. Um, I wanted to spend more time with the patients, and things were changing in a sense that, if you're a patient, you go into the big waiting room, you wait there for a little bit, and they call your name. You go now into a smaller waiting room. They close the door, and someone comes in. They take your blood pressure. They take temperature. That person leaves, and there's another person that comes in and asks you more questions. That person leaves, and another person comes in and asks you questions and does an examination, and that person leaves, another person comes in. I'm like, whoa, 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 who are you? Well, I'm the doctor. Well, you're the doctor. Then who did the examination? Oh, that was my nurse practitioner, or that was my physician assistant. So what I saw was, and then I'm only spending like maybe 5 minutes with the doctor. And I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I wanted to spend time with the patient. I wanted to just do the whole 20 minutes with the patient, or 30 minutes if it's a new patient. It just wasn't like that. It was just changing. And I'm like saying to myself, what else could I do with a medical degree? I want to be with patients, but I don't know if this is something I'm going to be happy with, because things are, and to tell you the truth, it's still changing, right? So anyway, make a long story short, someone mentioned about teaching, and I'm like, teaching at a college? Let me see what that's all about. Well, here I am 15 years later, and I am loving it. I've been now teaching mostly anatomy and physiology, but I have taught biology and microbiology, pathophysiology. Again, that's dealing with diseases, which is probably the number one course I actually love. And you're going to see a lot of the pathophysiology being taught in the course that we're going to be teaching, or that I'm going to be teaching you, because I really feel that in order for you to really understand what is important, you got to really apply it to like a disease. Putting diseases and putting in things when things are going wrong, it really emphasizes why you need to understand the normal anatomy and physiology. So I wouldn't say I do a lot of it. I would say maybe 15 to 20% of the course, I kind of put that in there. Nothing heavy, but it really helps you solidify the normal material. And you'll see that if I haven't had you in A&P-1, and you're a new student to me, you'll see what I mean by that. So anyway, yeah, so I taught in CCM during those early 15 years. Sussex County Community College, a few colleges here and there, teaching the same kind of material. And then I wouldn't say recently, but I got married, and my wife was from Boston. It was an easier move or transfer for me to move from New Jersey to Boston, Massachusetts. So I started teaching up there also. But then when the pandemic happened and all, people were doing, a lot of colleges, in fact, all colleges were doing remotely teaching. So I called up the wonderful people at CCM. I said, I'm teaching remotely. Would you like me to also teach there too? I haven't taught there for about 5 years because of where I was. I moved to Boston. Anyway, they knew how I taught there before, and they, welcomed me back with open arms. So I actually live in Boston, and I do get back to New Jersey every so often, maybe like once every couple months or so. It's only a 5-hour drive for me. I need that pizza fix, New Jersey pizza. So anyway, that's a little bit about myself. I've been have so many experiences. Please, as I'm talking with all this, and you're going to get through with the whole course, if you have any questions about anything, just don't hesitate. Email me. I never leave you guys hanging. Just, I'll be able to, I will email you right back, usually definitely within 24 hours, but usually much faster than that. And if we can't do something, we can't talk via the email, we'll set up a Zoom session together, and we could just chit chat and see what's going on. So anyway, without further ado, let's go into the syllabus. Again, what I'm going to do is be sure that you print this out before we go into it so you can follow along. Again, the first 8 pages again are the departmental, but I'm going to start on page 9, basically the introduction, which I kind of did for you. The other thing I want you to print out is the course calendar. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Not because I created it, because I haven't really created it. I mean, I put in all our stuff in it, but one of the teachers at CCM showed me theirs, and I use it as a template, and it's wonderful. It absolutely is. It's a very fast course semester, as you know, 7 weeks. But I put everything here. It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. You'll see the first 3 pages are going to, I'm sorry, 5 pages. The first 3 pages are calendar setup. It's color coded. You'll see when things are due, when things open. The 4th page, which is a wonderful page, is a checklist of all the assessments you have to do, discussion boards, and you'll see this, it'll be like discussion boards over here, quizzes. I'm sorry, 3rd column. So the 3rd column, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, the 4th column over here explains, tells you which assessment it is, whether it's a lecture quiz, a lecture exam, a discussion board, post, whatever. We'll get into all that. And then some information about that. Also, when it opens and when it's due or when it closes. Okay, I have these in order of when they close because it's just an easier thing to do. When they open, some of them will be overlapping, and it's a little bit difficult to follow along. I also have a space here as a check mark if you want to put checks there to say done, done, done kind of thing. So I think this is a wonderful thing for you to visualize. It corresponds well with the course calendar. And the last page here is just certain dates and important notes to make note for yourself, which we will talk about as we go along here. So again, without further ado, make sure you print out at least the syllabus, the 29-page syllabus, so that we can follow along. But the course calendar, that's the last time I'll really show you or talk about that. But definitely print it out for yourself in color. I think it's going to be easier for you to manage. Okay, so let's start talking. Let me go back to my PowerPoint over here. Okay, we'll go to here, share. And okay, so again, that's me. And so this is the hybrid course. Again, it's accelerated in the 7 weeks. We refer to it really as the late start course. The lecture itself is taught by me, and everything I'm going to talk about here is only for lecture. You're going to have to talk to your lab instructor about what is expected in lab. Again, it's online and remotely done. There is no days that you have to be talking with me through Zoom or whichever. There is openings and there's due dates of things. It's up to you how you want to put your schedule. Just make sure that you're able to meet the due dates. We're going to use Blackboard, which I'll introduce you to and how I have it all set up. That's where all the testing and all the communication with me will be. Okay. Again, there's no face-to-face meeting scheduled at all for here. But again, as I said, you email me. If I could answer your questions through an email, super. We'll end it like that. Or if you really need a Zoom session together, by all means, we will set that up. Okay. Again, the lab is not taught by me. You have to come to campus. It is taught by Dr. Kardashian, who I've her and I teamed up quite a bit in the past year or two doing this A&P-2 hybrid course. So I know it very well. Again, it's on campus Saturdays. It's going to be a long day for you from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock p.m. And all the testing will be done in person, face-to-face on campus. Okay. There is an entering survey, and I'll show you that when I go into the Blackboard situation. It's just to get me better acquainted to you on your background, things about what you want me to call you. Do you have any sciences under your belt? What is your career goal? How do you see yourself 5 years from now? Those kinds of questions. It's nothing heavy at all. You should be able to do it in about 5 minutes or so, probably less than that. So you're not one of my live students, but the online students, the way you're going to be doing this is that you'll see it in the syllabus folder of Blackboard. You're going to need to download it, complete it by just typing in the stuff. You do not have to print it out. I don't want you to print out, actually. Once you type in all the information, then save it. And the best way to save it is to change the file name to your own name and then email it back to me on day one, okay, once Blackboard opens. The course description, it's really a continuation of Anatomy and Physiology 1. So we are expecting you to, when I say we, everybody, you know, me and Dr. Kardashian, we do expect you to remember the material from A&P-1 because we're going to be using that. Words like anterior and posterior, afferent, efferent, they're all going to come back over here, let alone how the brain works and how the autonomic nervous system affects things. So it's all going to come back. So it's such a fast course and such a heavy, deep course that we're not going to have time to review that. You may have to get out your old A&P-1 notes. You have the textbook. You can always go back to that if you need to review for yourself. And of course, we have tutoring also that you can go to if you need to do any refresher courses. But in this course, we're going to be doing continuation of 10 other systems, the remaining systems, which are endocrinology, hematology, or blood, cardiology, and some people refer to cardiology and vascular, and they just say cardiovascular system. Lymphatics, which is a very short chapter and is usually combined with immunology, how the body fights off bacteria and viruses. Then we go into the respiratory system, the digestive system. We're going to learn a little bit of nutrition with that also. Urology, which is the urinary system, the kidney, basically. And something that actually is going to use the urology system is the fluids, electrolytes, and acid base. And chemistry is going to come back once again over here. But that's probably one of the most important chapters that we're going to do, especially if you're going into nursing, because it's all about fluids. And we all know that nurses are going to be hanging bags for of certain fluids to give to patients. So understanding how much and things like that, we'll get into that. And then, of course, the last system is going to be the reproductive system. Okay. For the hybrid course, again, this is a lecture component only I'm talking about. There is 4 requirements that you need. If you had me for A&P-1, or if you had an A&P-1 online course here at CCM, it's basically the same 4 requirements. You will need a digital device. This is quite obvious, but I do want you to make sure that it's either a laptop, desktop, or a Chromebook. These items can be used for everything, including exams. Stay away from smartphones and tablets for exams, quizzes, and mastering A&P. Mastering A&P is something that the lab may use. I'm not too sure if she's going to use it this semester or not, but it's something that is, again, it's going to be supplemental. I don't use mastering A&P when it comes to lecture, however. Yeah, so don't use smartphones for these exams and quizzes. There has been times where the pictures that are in the exams and quizzes don't show up, and it's quite difficult to be wasting time where you're scrolling up and downs, left and right, and it's such a small thing to look at. It's not going to be very conducive for you to take these tests like that. So laptop, desktop, or Chromebook are the things that can be used for everything. You want to watch the videos using a smartphone, go right ahead. That's up to you. Okay. You obviously need an internet access, but do make sure that wherever you're going to use it, especially for exams and quizzes, that you have a good Wi-Fi connectivity. Really, you need to be as close to, and it's not the modem. The modem is the part that's in the computer. What you need to be close to in your house or wherever you're going to be taking it is close to the router. That's that big box that has the blinking lights and whatnot. The closer you are to that, the better the Wi-Fi connectivity would be for you. Okay, just be mindful of internet traffic of everyone that's using that router in your household. Whether your brother Johnny is playing the game and your sister Bonnie is doing homework using Blackboard from her high school, and then mom is watching Netflix, and dad is looking up some kind of tool he needs to get. When you have all these people using that, it's going to cut the time on your internet, especially if you have a low megabytes per second. So just, you'll have time to take the quizzes and exams. You'll have like 48 hours or 65 hours for the exams. Pick a time when there's less people in your house, so there won't be any delays when you submit each answer to your question. Okay. The only two browsers that you can use is Firefox or Google Chrome. Those are the only two that we can use. Do not use Internet Explorer, Internet Explorer Edge, or for the Apple users, Safari. You can download and install Firefox and Google Chrome on all computers, including Apple. Make sure you do that. The proctoring system that we use only use Firefox or Google Chrome. Okay. The third thing you're going to need is a webcam, and it has to have a working microphone. We use something called Measure Learning. It was formerly called ProctorU, and they're still using the word ProctorU. I'll still use that. And for any virtual appointments that you want to have a Zoom session with me. You got to have a webcam with a working microphone. The microphone does have to work with that. The ProctorU is a proctoring system that a third party is going to record, and then I will be reviewing them all. The webcam must be positioned at the top of your screen. The proctor exams require this, and is also noting that also. Once you're connected to ProctorU, you will need to pan the webcam 360 degrees. Do the best you can with this. I need to make sure that there is no study aids that are nearby you, whether it's posted on the wall or posted like a book that's standing up or whichever. I want to make it fair for everyone taking the exams. All the exams, as I've noted, are video recorded. Eyes should always be directed to the monitor at all times to try and uphold the integrity issues. No exam or quiz is open book, and you will not be able to visit other websites during the exams or quizzes, as I will be alerted by ProctorU. Again, the 360-degree view before you take the exam, and I will remind everybody about a day or two before the exams open, but you need to pan your webcam 360 degrees and also show your desktop, meaning not your desktop of the screen, but the desktop where your computer is on, so I see on either side of your keyboard that there's no books or notes or diagrams, etc. there. And this just reassures not just me, but also your classmates there's no other resources, and that everybody's playing by the book, no pun intended, so that it's fair for everyone. Okay. The fourth thing that you definitely need is going to be a photo ID. And I'm sure everyone's got their CCM school ID. This is perfect to use. But if you misplaced it and you can't find it, you could use any government issued photo ID, passport, driver's license, something of that sort. But do make sure that your full name must match what CCM has for my course roster. And ProctorU will ask you to display the photo ID, hold it there, it'll snap a picture, and that'll be recorded. Be sure, because it will be noting me this too, be sure that this photo ID is not expired, that this is all up to date, okay? Okay, so the course information. So where am I in the syllabus? Jumping around a little bit, but on page 12, you see where this is. The prerequisite is going to be just anatomy and physiology 1. You have to have a minimum grade of C for that. The class dates is from March 20th to a very fast May 10th of this year. I also want to mention too about times. This is 4 credits, but the times here we are referring to Eastern Standard Time, i.e. New York. It might sound common sense, but if you're going to be away for, let's say, throughout the week or certain holiday or whatever, and you're in California visiting someone, during that week before you go to your lab on Saturday, we're using the Eastern Standard Time. Even if you're in California and it's, let's say, 3 hours behind us, we're still using New York time. So just be sure you understand that. The lecture exams, quizzes, and discussion boards, the days will vary when there is, times will vary, and I'll talk more about that later on, and obviously it's remote. The lab component, again, is taught by Dr. Kadachi. It will be on Saturdays from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock p.m., and it's located in SH, Shepherd Hall, 253, okay? If you have any questions about the lab component, just refer all your questions, email Dr. Kardachi, and she will be explaining and or answering your questions that way, okay? Again, my name's Dr. Gamaro, and you'll also have Professor Kardachi being your lab professor. For me, again, this is all about me. Office hours, there really is no office hours. Just email me and we'll find a conducive time for either one of us if we need to do a Zoom session. But most of the time, I can answer things through an email, but we will do a Zoom session if we need to. Contact information for me, faculty office phone number. If you need a phone number, that's the one you'll get, and they'll get in touch with me. They have my cell phone. I don't usually give my cell phones out, the number out. The email is escamaro@ccm.edu. However, do not use this once day 1 begins. I don't check this email often, or if I do, there is so much email from there. I don't want to say junk mail, but I do get some junk mail from different companies, book companies and whatnot. And I wouldn't call it junk mail, but they want me to do a survey or it's stuff like that. It's not really pertinent to what I'm doing with the course. So what I'm saying is if you email me there, it will most definitely, quote unquote, get lost. And it might take me a few days to look for that or a few hours or something. So it's not going to be very fast. So, and the same thing with you. I'm not going to email you through your ccm.edu student email address because, again, it could get lost in there, especially if you're taking 2 or 3 courses and really don't know where it is. So the best way, and I'll explain where this is, the best way is going to be going to Blackboard. There's something called an inbox BB mail, and I'll show you where that is. I check that often. I check it like 2 to 3 times a day. And everything that is pertaining to this course is in that email. Nothing else. You won't get junk mail. You won't get mail from the college. You won't get anything from other courses. It's only from our course. And the same thing with you. You'll email me and I will look in here and it will only be the students that are in our course that I'll be seeing there. And I do email you quite often. I'll be sending an email out every Sunday. And I think every Thursday is a checking point, but there's going to be many ones in between. You're going to get a lot only because we're doing it in 7 weeks. If I had you for 15 weeks, I probably would email you about 3, maybe 4 times a week. But sometimes I might email you like uh, 2 times in one day, depending on what I need to explain to you. So my suggestion is I'm going to check I'm going to check 2 to 3 times a day, every day, including Sundays, holidays, and so forth. You should check at least twice a day, every day, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock p.m. Because, like I said, I may email you, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I don't want you to get that email until, like you check it the next day at 12 noon, because there might be some time sensitive matters there. So check twice a day. I'll check 2 to 3 times a day, but every day. Okay. Again, just to reiterate the highlights here, I know I mentioned this, but just so you can see it on one slide here. The course requirements that you need is a digital device. Remember, desktop, laptop, Chromebook are the only things that can be used for everything. Stay away from smartphones and tablets, especially for exams and quizzes. Make sure you have a good Wi-Fi connectivity with internet access. Stay close to that router. Only use Firefox or Google Chrome as your browsers. Stay away from Internet Explorer, Internet Explorer Edge, and Safari. You do need a working webcam with a working microphone, and do make sure you have a photo ID that has not expired. Okay. Okay, so a little bit about measure learning. Again, it used to be called ProctorU. They just changed it sometime, I think, last year, but we still have been using it. Basically, Measure U bought out ProctorU, but they're still using the word or the term ProctorU. So I'll be using that too. Again, what this is a 24/7, 24 hours, 7-day online proctoring service. And you go over here to, you need to register at the measurelearning.com. Again, look at the way measure is spelled with the Z, not an S. So try and register this online today to get this out of the way. Again, you can only use Firefox or Google Chrome. It won't allow you to do anything else with that. And what you're going to do is you must download and install something called a ProctorU extension. It kind of gets embedded into Firefox or Google Chrome. If you want to use either one of those, then you would have to install it into Firefox and Google Chrome. I give you the instructions on there, and there's also instructions found in the syllabus, which I'll show you. I mean, in Blackboard, and I'll show you that. Okay. There is online testing fees. CCM has decided starting spring of 2023, this semester here, and moving forward, they're saying now it is the responsibility of the student, not the college itself, to do this. It comes to roughly about $6 to $8 an exam, and there is going to be 4 lecture exams for here. So we're looking at the price is about $24 to $32. But you should have already paid that when you were registering. You'll see it, your payments, how it was broken down. You should see that it's a separate fee that you'll see on your bill. Okay, so just make sure that that is paid. Otherwise, you can't take any of the exams. If you choose not to use ProctorU, you can use an authorized testing site, but just keep in mind, you got to notify me 10 business days prior to that exam, because I got to send everything over there and make sure that they can open it. I got to give them the password and all that stuff. So I'd rather have a good 10 business days to get them set it. Also, if there's any out-of-pocket fees, this is also going to be the responsibility of you to do this. It is going to be more costly to do this than the $6 to $8 a test. So most students just do all the ones that I've dealt with so far have always done just paid it at the register and just called it a day for that $30 or so. So just giving you a heads up about that. Okay. The textbook that we use in conjunction to the lecture portion is the Anatomy and Physiology, the 11th edition, 2019. If you had A&P-1 here at CCM, whether you had it in a hybrid format, an online format, or live for that matter, it's a continuation of the same book. So what book you have over there is good. Okay, it's by the author Marib. All right.